Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike here. The DRF race of the day for Friday, November the 25th, race number 7 at Del Mar. It is the Grade 2 Hollywood Turf Cup. We're going a 3-turn mile and a half. $250,000 is the purse. Let's take a peek at this field. I thought this was a pretty evenly matched group on paper, Mike. You can go several different ways in here. Thoughts on the number 1, the Gray Wizard? We've talked about it earlier this week. Graham Motion just seems to find the right spots when he ships horses west in graded stakes races.
That's true. I've actually had a little bit of a thing for this horse since he got over here. I do think he's okay, maybe better than he looks on paper, Dan. Boy, his lack of speed, though, really works against him.
But the distance is a question mark for some of these horses, and not so for the Gray Wizard. Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector. One of the horses that's questionable at this elongated distance is the number 3, Go On, who's stretching out off a pace-pressing win going a mile. No arguments here with him being on the lead in the Hollywood Turf Cup. Prince Obama has won at a mile and a 16th, but is stretching out off 4 one-mile races. He should be close as well.
Yeah, I thought those two horses would probably be the ones, right up there, either on or near the early lead in this race. I guess Go On. I won't argue with him being on the early lead. I actually thought he ran pretty well in his most recent start at a mile. It's not like that was a slow pace.
Let's start things off with the number 1, the Gray Wizard, a 3-year-old still eligible for a non-winners of 2 life event, but a horse that's graded stakes placed, and that graded placing came at Aqueduct over this mile and a half distance against 3-year-olds in the Jockey Club Derby. And I thought all in all, the trip was there for him. He was able to get up for second late behind the impressive winner Nation's Pride. Last time out, he caught an older group, a decent group of allowance horses, the 3rd horse coming back to run second in a first level race with an 88 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, I guess you could look at the Jockey Club Derby Invitational 2 back then and go, because Nation's Pride won so easily. And then you could look at it and go, well, somebody had to be second. And the Gray Wizard was second up the inside. And there, he ran a fine race overall. Last time, I would give him a little bit of a break for that one. Not that he ran, some kind of great race in there, but he was trying pretty hard through the stretch of that race. And that was just one of those races, Dan. It just wasn't coming back for him. Everybody that finished ahead of him was basically ahead of him all the way around the track, and he just could not get to any of those horses, but he was making up ground.
The number 2 is Cash Equity. Now, this horse won at a mile and a quarter 3 starts back. Might have been a little bit overmatched in the Eddie Reed 2 back when they turned him back slightly in distance. Last time out off of short layoff, he got wired in the John Henry Turf Championship. There wasn't a lot of pace. He was relatively close. He sort of finished evenly throughout.
Yeah, he was sort of always on the outside in that John Henry Turf Cup. And the horses that did well in that race, particularly the 1 and 2 finishers, were both always on the inside. So maybe it's enough of an excuse, Dan. I personally can't say that I really love any of his races since he's gotten over here, but I guess you could say he had a little excuse last time.
Go On completed during the Dubai Spring Carnival and is now making his 3rd start off a long layoff. He's been reformed as a turf horse since returning, and let's see his last run. This is a first-level optional claimer going a 2-turn mile. He got right up close to the pace, makes the lead in the stretch, and is able to finish it off with a career-best 90 buyer speed figure. I do think there is some upside here. He is going to have to obviously improve off of this race. We see him on his left lead through the stretch, but he might have a little bit of a pace advantage.
He might. I don't know about the mile and a half for him. I thought he looked pretty good winning that race that we just watched. So I realized that he, sort of went to his wrong lead a long way out, but he didn't stop running in that race after jumping to his wrong lead. He kept going. They never really threatened him in there. He earned a good figure for the race. I liked that performance. I just don't know how much I want him stretching out in this race.
Avenue is the number 4, and no surprise they tried the dirt. I believe he's a half or a full brother to Tis a Magician, who's a very good longer distance dirt horse out in Southern California, but turf is probably his game. Let's go back to his race 2 starts back, coming off the heels of a close 3rd in the San Juan Capistrano. The race we're watching is at 11 furlongs at Del Mar. He got a nice pace to run at, and he's going to swoop him down on the outside. The 3rd place finisher would come back to run second with an 88 buyer, and then second on dirt with a 92 and a grade 3.
It's a good finish. This horse puts it in this race. You'll notice that there's nobody else making up ground in the leaders, Dan. This horse had 4 or 5 horses that he had to pass from the top of the stretch. He passed them all. He did it really easily. You could just almost see him getting stronger throughout the race there, Dan. And he did the same thing 2 starts back, I thought, going a mile and 3/4 against older horses. Just another race where I just feel like he probably could have won that race. He certainly had a shot at it, but he still finished really well in there, and he just got out kicked at the end by break point. It was still a good performance, I thought. I think this horse is really dangerous in here.
Up next is the number 5, Dean Martini, who won the Ohio Derby back in 2020. Now trying to put it all together as a turf horse. They ran him in the Cougar, the second handicap on dirt last time out, and he just couldn't get out of first gear. 2 back in the San Juan Capistrano, he was close, but he not only finished behind Avenue, it was one of those blanket finishes where I'm just not sure I trust the entire result.
Yeah, he also got a pretty good trip in that race because he was just always on the inside. He had a clean run without losing any ground in there. He still finished pretty gamely, though. I won't take anything away from him in there. The race 2 starts back where he was a huge price in a grade 2. He didn't do a ton in there, but he had no chance. A race that was just dominated up on the lead. So he stayed on pretty well in there. I feel like he might be a little bit underrated on the turf.
The 6 Prince Obama does have good tactical speed, and he's likely to get forwardly placed. The distance is a big question for a horse that is graded stakes placed going a mile. That was in the City of Hope 2 starts back. Let's watch his last start, the Restricted Lure. Again, the winner of this race, Air Force Red, was just able to get to the front and control very slow fractions. Prince Obama got a very nice ride. He basically saved ground at the back throughout, and he's going to be able to get up for second. Solid performance with a 91 buyer. He did get a good trip in this race.
He really did. Everything as far as, being a closer goes, you can't really argue with that kind of a trip. On the other hand, the winner had a better trip than he did, sort of controlling the pace. I don't know. I guess he ran fine in there. I thought he ran okay 2 starts back. I didn't really know what to do with him, Dan. I feel like he's got to improve to win this race, and he's got to do it stretching all the way out in distance, which I think has to be a real question.
Distance is okay for the 7, Dicey Mochara, who ran second last time out in this race, the John Henry Turf Championship. This race is at a 1.25 miles, and again, the race was at the mercy of a gate-to-wire winner. Master of Foxhounds went to the front. He didn't go very fast. Dicey Mochara tried very, very hard all the way down to the wire. Maybe a similar situation as we saw from our previous runner, Prince Obama, where he got a good trip. The winner just got a better one.
Yeah, game in here too. A really good finish there to get up for second. I liked that effort from him. I thought he ran really well 2 starts back also, going 1 mile and 3/8. I mean, just the more you take his form apart, Dan, there aren't, tons of wins there, but every time they send this horse a longer distance, he shows up and he runs a good race.
Wide open race at Del Mar for our Friday DRF race of the day. Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRF videos. Let's take a look at our top picks for the Hollywood Turf Cup. I do think this is a wide open race. Avenue, I am a fan of this horse. I really like the way he won 2 starts back. I was very interested in him on dirt last time out. It didn't work out, but this is his surface, and he'll be running late.
Right. I think this is his surface, and I really feel like this is his distance too, Dan. The races that they've sent him long, I think longer is just better from this horse based on what I can tell from those races 2 and 3 starts back.
Prince Obama's been running in pretty good form going shorter distances. I like the try he exhibited last time out when he was wired, even though he did get a pretty decent closer's trip saving ground. Good performance 2 starts back beyond brilliant, is one of the better milers. The distance is a big question, but we'll see what we get from Prince Obama, who should be close to the pace and in the thick of things when they turn for home. 4751 for Mike, 6713 for me. Good edition of the Grade 2 $250,000 Hollywood Turf Cup, your DRF Friday race of the day. Good luck.